Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Roadrunners Unfiltered. It's your host, Darrien Starling here. UTSA wins yesterday 34-14 against the Rice Owls at the Alamo Dome. It was, 28,000 deep. That was the Runners' sixth win in a row, and we are cruising to wrap up this season. Only got 2 games left, but there was a lot that we did yesterday. There's a lot to unpack from yesterday because for those of you who's following along on Twitter, I definitely went on I had a little bit of a Twitter vent at halftime on Spaces. Check that out if you guys ever get the time. But I was frustrated at our first half performance, and then we showed out, and dominated in that second half. Super excited about that. There's just a lot going on. My overall thoughts on the games are as follows. Last night's game are as follows. I think that a 34-14 victory over Rice, we got the game to a point in that third quarter. Obviously, we won that third quarter 21-0. We took control of the game, and that's when we really started to show our quality against theirs and showed, why we are in the position we are in and they are in the position they're in. I think that team clearly has some talent, but without their go-to quarterback, we were at a huge advantage there. And it took us a little bit to figure out some stuff defensive. Well, not defensively, but it took us a while to figure out their defense. I think that, I don't know, it kind of took too long. But what I will say is I think for 2 games now, it's been 2 games, our team offensively anyway has been a little bit conservative through the air. I think if you look at the passing yardage, I think we had 182 yards through the air last night, which not great considering it's not bad obviously, but considering how much of a passing team we've been over the last couple of years, I think it's interesting to see us have to make a shift. And I think that has a lot to do with, it clearly has nothing to do with Frank, but I think it has something to do with the receiving core and the trust there, right? So that's a little alarming considering some of the teams we're facing with potential, high-powered offense or just potent offenses. Because if you even go back to the North Texas game, remember, we won that game. We put up 37 points, obviously, but we only had, I believe, 134 yards through the air. So we heavily relied on our rushing attack, which, I think it's great. I've been preaching and talking about this all season. And we even tried to come up with a nickname for the 3-headed monster we have in the backfield last week. I've been saying from the start that our running backs are the strongest part of our offense from a skill position standpoint. Obviously, you got Frank Harris; he's his own weapon. But I think those running backs, if you just look at the talent they have, we need to lean on them. And I think as we've started to see in this season, as the season has progressed, we start to lean on those guys more and more and more. And although we didn't have Kavorian Barnes last night, I mean, was not that we don't miss him, but was the running game hurt at all? No. I think it sucks to not have him, right? And he doesn't get to build upon that 16 carries for $129 that he had the previous week against North Texas. But, Rocco Griffin and Robert Henry did just fine. They did just fine. Robert Henry got the bulk of the carries. He had 19 carries for 63 yards, so he only had a 3.3 average, which is not great, but he did find the end zone. Rocco Griffin had 12 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown. So a better night on the ground for him. But, one of the things that I highlighted, I have in my notes here from the game, and here's what I'll say. I'll say I am obviously happy with another victory that allows us to, get closer and closer to the goal that I think UTSA is trying to achieve in terms of winning conference and things like that. I think that's important, and I don't want to, um, you know, poo-poo that, I guess. But actually, before I get in there, I want to shout out the defense. I want to shout out the defense because I want to start with the positives. I think the defense was hellacious. What more else can you say about Trey Moore, folks? What else can you say about that guy? That guy, um, uh, just record breaking. He's just been a menace. Another 2 sacks to his tally last night. He's been excellent all year, and he was excellent again last night. Our defense was just dominant. And here's the thing: obviously, Rice, had to put pieces together on offense to come out and try to put up a good performance. They weren't at their best offensively, but regardless, a defense still has to play disciplined and still have to, go out there and show up in these games, because you never know, man. Sometimes the backup quarterback, if they have some talent, they can, because you're not used to game planning for that guy, they can surprise you sometimes. And honestly, I don't think that quarterback did awful. He held on to the ball way too long because you can tell he's just not used to just the speed and everything flying at him. You can tell he didn't have a whole bunch of, he just wasn't that prepared for it. But, just hats off to the defense, man. They did a great job last night. They were just dominating. The front seven, what do we talk about coming into the game? That front seven can really, really make this game easy for us, and I just think they did. Yes, they scored 14 points. I think we got to, if I am being a little bit nitpicky, we got to guard the seam balls a little bit better, right? If you look at the 2 touchdowns we gave up, it was the same route concepts. The inside receiver released inside on one time. The first touchdown, it was on one of our safeties. He released inside. I believe it was Wisdom, and got up the seam for a touchdown. And then the one at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, I know it's garbage time, but what they did was they did a motion. They motioned out the tight end, and he ran a wheel route. So you still got the same route concept. So that outside receiver, the corner lineup for the outside receiver, on the snap of the ball, he turns into basically that receiver over there turns into the slot guy. And guess what he did? Inside release right up the seam. They hit us right over the top for a touchdown. So I'm not worried about the 14 points. I don't care about the 14 points. Our defense was completely dominant, but I am concerned that the 14 points they scored came from the same exact play in that, yellow zone area where it wasn't quite the red zone. I think they were a little bit outside of the red zone, but they hit us with a seam ball over the top. We haven't defended those, well all season. I feel like that's something that they schemed up on film and seen that it was sort of a weakness. So hopefully we can get that cleaned up. But overall, I thought our performance defensively was incredible, and I think going forward, it's just going to be important for us to build off that. But I will say this, and I'll get to some of your chats here in a second, but I just want to wrap up my thoughts, my just initial knee-jerk thoughts on the game. Going back to our passing game being a little bit conservative, I'll say. We haven't put up a ton of gaudy numbers passing over the last couple of weeks. But the play calling, just – in the first half specifically, I can't go, I'm happy we got the win. I cannot go this show without highlighting my frustrations with that third down call. Third and goal, I believe we were at like the 7 or 8, and we throw a 4-yard pass across the middle to a tight end, which results in him getting stripped, and, we're losing the ball there. Why is the ball not going in the end zone? Hell, if all else fails, you either line up Joshua Cephas, try to get him isolated with a corner or a DB over there and let him run a route and you just throw it to him regardless. Or you got Tyke Ogle-Kellogg, who's 6'5", 200 and something pounds, and who has shown throughout this season that he can, win his one-on-ones and win jump balls and things like that. Why not, let's give him an opportunity to make a play, right? I think we have to do that stuff a little better. I think it was. I'm happy with the win. I'm glad we got it, but there were some things that we need to tighten up a little bit. And hopefully we get a chance to do this against a South Florida team that I think we should beat, but you just never know what you get from them as we build our way up to Tulane. I am getting worried, though, because I feel like at some point I want to say the runners have peaked. And I still feel like we have not played our best football, and it's too late in the season. But we should have seen our best football at this point in the season, and I still don't think we've seen it. Hopefully it comes out against Tulane, but we still haven't played our best football where both sides of the ball are really clicking. Let's get to some of these comments. Carol says, yeah, Darrien, you were killing in the first half. Yeah, the first half was a little bit frustrating, man. It was a little frustrating. First half was not great. I like for us to go in and establish a sense of dominance, and we just didn't do that. So yeah, I was going through it. Marcus Lambert says A&M just announced Jimbo Fisher getting fired. It is A&M coming for Traylor. Probably will have a look for him. I don't know if. So my thoughts on this are as follows. So yes, they're going to look at Jeff Traylor 1,000%. But whenever if you just look around the country, Jeff Traylor is obviously hot. He's a hot commodity. But for a program like A&M, who is trying, they're about to spend a lot of money for this coaching change. Have you guys seen his buyout numbers? Jimbo, let me tell you something. Jimbo, if he don't know how to do nothing, he can do some business, right? Jimbo getting like $70 million from this buyout. Insane. So if A&M is spending $70 million to make a coaching change all at one time like this, that means they are going to get someone where there's no questions. There's no questions in who. When I say no question, they're going to try to go get whoever it is with the most bulletproof resume that you can find, or something close to that. This is just my opinion. Who knows? I know there's a lot of hot coaches and stuff out there, but this is just my opinion. I feel like if I'm spending $70 million, I want to go get something guaranteed. And not to say Traylor is not guaranteed or anything like that, or he, can't. It wouldn't be a great move up for him, and he wouldn't succeed there. But Traylor hasn't been a head coach at UTSA very long. Although he's hot, back-to-back conference titles, we looking like we're headed to. We have an opportunity to get one get one this year also. I think the bowl game thing hurts a bit. He hasn't won a bowl game yet. I think that hurts. That A&M is going to be in big type games, high leverage games, high pressure games. I think that they are probably going to look for someone that has coached on that particular head coached on that particular level, or maybe someone from the NFL who has an NFL background. So listen, I sure as hell hope they don't take Jeff Traylor from us. I can tell you that. I really, really hope not. That would be devastating. It would be great for Traylor just as, just on a personal note, that man will go there and make so much money. And not that he's not making a lot of money here, but A&M is going to would pay him more than we're paying him. But I don't think first off, you can almost say, I don't know if he'd take it. I don't know if he'd take it, honestly. Like, I always feel like he's a Texas guy. Like, if we lose him, we'll lose him to the Longhorns. A&M, I don't know. I don't know if he's an Aggie type guy. I don't know if he'd take it. I mean, listen, financially, I'm sure it'd be great. And then College Station is sort of, you're kind of going to be more in a way of where, like, his home is from a recruiting standpoint, East Texas and all that type of stuff. So that could be fine. But I don't know. Trust me, I'm going to keep my eye on it because it would suck to lose him. Next comment, Robert Ruiz says, a random question. I'm not sure if Zachariah Franklin has played enough games to redshirt. Can you see him coming back to UTSA next year? I doubt it. Yeah, I mean, with Frank leaving and a lot of the guys leaving, a lot of the folks that's on this team that he's been with, it's funny how like yeah, there's a lot of people on that team that he's still close with and he's played with and they've been teammates, but like his class, his guys, they're walking out the door now. They're walking out the door now. I think. Listen, it's unfortunate what's happened with him. He went to Ole Miss, injury riddled season. He's not involved enough in the offense, or not. I don't know if he's even. I don't know if he's still playing or whatever, but he's not involved enough in the offense that that would just make this whole thing worthwhile. Yeah, Ole Miss was ranked number 10 or whatever. I know they just lost to Georgia. They got blew out. But yeah, I look at the stat sheet. Like I said, I don't know if he's playing, but he's not on here. He's not on here. I don't know if he's hurt or what, but listen, it's unfortunate, but it's probably done. It's probably done. I will say this. This really hurt his NFL chances. I think he should have stayed at UTSA, honestly. But it is what it is. I hope the kid is I hope he gets all the opportunities he deserves. He's obviously super talented. He's a legend at UTSA, broke all the records. It is what it is, but I don't think he comes back. Jared Schroeder says, rumor has it Darrien is still running in celebration of his stoppage. That's a good one. Good one. Darrien, you will be good at coaching. You know what? I really wanted to coach right after I thought about it. I thought about it after college. I had an opportunity to GA at UTSA. I just didn't. I don't know. I think football can be so. I don't know. Just getting caught up in football, like, and having that your life, it's so stressful for me. It's the reason I like to do this. Like, I get super emotionally invested, and I don't know if I can. Like, I actually need the football break when football season over, because between the Roadrunners and the Cowboys, my stress levels are just insane during football season. So I don't know if I could do that, 365 days a year round. That would just be tough. But yeah, I would like to do like some consultant stuff, if that's even a thing, where I could come in, give my thoughts and stuff like that. But then again, you got to have like hella credentials to do that, and I don't think I have them. Robert Ruiz says, the crowd was definitely in it last night. I felt that's the loudest it's been since Texas State. That's good to hear. I think there was 28,000 from what I've seen from the reports that was at the game last night. Shout out to all of y'all who went and showed love and supported the squad. Yeah, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need support. We're gonna need a traveling crowd too to that Tulane game, absolutely. And then once we win that game, the conference championship, and obviously the bowl game as well. So yeah, just it's a big few weeks coming up for UTSA. Absolutely. Olivia says player management. Know your players, plug in the right personnel. I'm sure that's in relation to one of the things I was talking about earlier, but as a general concept, that's correct. I think, yeah, that's correct. If I'm relating this, I'm going to relate this. I'm assuming you're talking about my bit about, that call and the play call that we made, and not being able to, find a Joshua Sevis one-on-one or find a Taki Oga-Kellogg one-on-one. I just think offensively our coordinator has not settled in yet. He's up and down. He's kind of inconsistent. I'm just hoping that he finds it home. I'm hoping that because sometimes whenever you talk about one side of the ball having an identity, so like, we say, well, what's the identity of our offense, right? And I'm not questioning the identity right now, but I think, well, first off, I think we still don't know what our identity is, because the coordinator sets the tone for what your identity is, because he's calling the plays. He's going to get the ball into whoever he wants to have the ball's hands, and the way he uses players and stuff like that can really dictate what our identity is. And I still think that we don't have one. I am starting to notice a pattern is we want to be run first. I think based on the personnel that we have, but we don't sit on the clock the way we should either. So like, do we want to be? Are we trying to be completely balanced? We have been an air raid offense for the last couple of years. We're kind of moving away from that. So I don't know. I just want to see just progression, and in these high leverage games and games, it's going to mean a lot for our season coming up in these next few weeks. I just want to see consistent play calling throughout the game that's relatively good. It's okay to have a bad drive here or there, but like I felt like we were moving the ball in the first quarter and the second quarter, but we wasn't finishing things off. And I feel like there were certain areas on the field where our calls were a little bit too conservative for my liking, but that's just me. Let's see. Next comment we got Anthony Ramirez says, in that case, we better see our best football against USF. Yeah, I hope so. It would be great to see something. It would be great to see our best football against USF, and then we up that against Tulane, and then we up that in the conference championship, and then we up that in the bowl game. Right? That's what I hope. And it could go back to offensive and to be fair. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention earlier, and I know this is kind of random, but shout out to Chris Carpenter on that punt return. Just beautiful. I love when special teams help out the offense. But we've been getting some help from other areas on scoring. You got to understand. So like, I don't want to be too critical, because at the end of the day, we put up 37 against North Texas, 34 last night, 41 to East Carolina, 36, game for that 41. We're scoring well. But I don't know if our offense is as potent as it has been in the past. And I don't know. I feel like some of the defensive help that we've gotten in recent weeks has put our offense in some favorable positions to put points on the board, which that's what we need. But where I worry is what happens in one of these games. I don't know. At what point, if we need to rely on our offense to dig us out of a hole, I worry if we can do that. Right now. I hope we can, but that worries me just a little bit, if I'm honest. Any updates on Willie McCoy? Yeah, from what I understand, he was responsive. Everything, he has feeling everywhere from what I've seen on Twitter. This is all from what I've seen on Twitter and the reports that's come out there. I think they sent them to like other doctors, whatever, to be further evaluated, but I think he's going to be all right. Robert Ruiz says, true, good point on Franklin and his class. JT Clark updates prediction of what he does. Yeah, I think JT Clark comes back next year. This is definitely going to be a red shirt year for him. We won't see him again. We won't see him, this season or whatever. It's just, it sucks. I don't want us, as fans and supporters of the program, to put pressure on that kid, man. I think what he went through a traumatic injury. He's trying to recover from a traumatic injury and get out there. And he wanted to play, in Frank's last year. I can't imagine how mentally taxing that is on him. I know that he is just probably dealing with a lot, and he's going to have a big decision to make, right? Because with Frank and a lot of his guys, you got to think about it. He's been there for a minute too, and a lot of those guys who were in Zachary Franklin's class is in his class, right? And that team's going to look completely different next year. And he's going to have to make a decision. Does he want to be a leader in that? Does he want to lead the squad forward? Does he want to continue this journey? Obviously, if he hasn't been able to play this year, considering when he got hurt, that means something's going on with that injury that just could be physically altering and just can be a tough road to get back. And I don't know. My thing is, I just hope the people around him help him make the best decision for him. And I wish him nothing but the best. And whatever decision he makes, I support it 100%. Anthony Ramirez says, what was your reaction to Willie McCoy's injury? Seeing it from the stands was terrifying. Yeah, it was insane. I tweeted immediately, just prayers up to him, and I hope that he's all right, man. One of the things, the tweet that I said on Twitter was, sometimes we don't realize how dangerous this game is. And folks who had never played, just it's one thing I talk about. We talk about this all the time in various of my UTSA group chats with some of my teammates or whatever, former teammates, whatever you want to call it. And we talk about, sometimes we all talk like we watch the game, we watch football, and like I still can't believe I played football for as many years as I did, because I look at how brutal the sport is. I can just remember making a tackle. I remember making a tackle against, and I don't even think I tackled him, but a receiver caught a ball against, I believe it was Arizona my senior year. And I remember hitting him out of bounds. And I remember hitting him, and like it rattled my head, obviously. And I was seeing my vision. Just imagine just having black holes in your vision for like, I don't know, 20 minutes. It was like drives out there I'm playing with, like I could barely see. And you're just conditioned to continue to play through that. You're conditioned to continue to play through gruesome injuries and head trauma and all that type of stuff. And I see somebody like a Willie McCoy who's going through stuff like that, and it just a reminder at how dangerous this sport is, and how you just hope that the technology continues to improve so it can better protect these athletes and make the game as safe as possible. I don't want to take the game. I don't want to like water the game down, but like improve helmets, improve pads so they can absorb impact a lot better, just so guys can be as protected as possible. But yeah, just unfortunate for him, and I hope he has a speedy recovery. Let's see. Olivia says, yes, big ups to Carpenter. Absolutely. Twain says Trey Moore. Yeah, I talked about him before, man. Trey Moore, I'll go back to that question a couple of weeks ago I got about, will he be playing on Sundays? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll tell you this, and I see the next question is rolling right into where I want to go with this. The question from MA says, do you think Trey Moore leaves for an NIL deal this offseason? It will suck, but I would not blame him. Dude is a beast. I sure as hell hope not, but it's going to be tough to keep him. I tell you that. It's going to be tough to keep him. And listen, anytime you have a dominating pass rusher like that, teams, or just look at NFL, these defensive ends, your Bosa twins, look at inside Aaron Donalds and all those guys who were just dominant pass rushing guys. Aiden Hutchinson, who just came out of Michigan, and all those guys. Listen, they all make so much money. Pass rushers, maybe not so much Aiden Hutchinson, but compared to those other guys, but pass rushers are king. They're king. People who can put pressure on a quarterback and sack the ball, get takeaways and stuff like that are king. Somebody's going to offer that dude a lot of money. So our NFL, our NIL collectives, they need to focus on him. He is a game changer. He can single-handedly make a defense a good defense just because he's on it. Just because he's on it. So, yes, somebody's going to throw that kid a boatload of money, and I hope he stays loyal. But it's going to take – at the end I don't even want to hear – like, I shouldn't have said the loyal thing. At the end of the day, if somebody comes around and offers, offer you enough money to change your family's life, that stuff is hard to turn. It's hard to turn down. It's hard to turn down, and he's probably going to get something like that. There's just no doubt about it. He's probably going to get offers out the wazoo because he is that good. He is that good. Make no mistake about it. So, Yeah, I hope our NIL collectives are hard at work right now to get that guy paid. Yeah, so donors and all that, they got to step up. That dude needs to get paid. He needs to have his own fund. Absolutely. Sonia says, "What did you think of the kids who came in for the fourth quarter?" Listen, I don't take a lot out of it other than experience. They need the experience. I don't necessarily like measure or like look and say, "Oh my gosh, this guy, is good or bad." You can't take so much. Can't take much from those performances in the fourth quarter from guys second and third string on the bench, um, because they're not being prepped to play. If that makes sense, they are, but they aren't. Like really, the rotation and starter guys are the ones who are really prepped to play, and they're the ones who coaches invest the vast majority of their time in getting prepared for the game. So getting those young guys just experience. I'm telling you right now, and this is something that some people may not understand either. Like playing on a high school field in Texas is nerve-wracking enough. Like kids from Texas are built different or football players from Texas are built different because we're used to playing in high-style environments with a lot of folks. We do 20,000 people in high school games on the regular. That's not a huge that's not surprising in Texas, right? So like folks are used to playing in those environments, but when you get to a college level, that same 20-some thousand is just a different level. It's a different feel. The game is a lot faster. Like that was the craziest thing. And whenever we started, we weren't even D1 fully. We played a 1AA schedule whenever I started playing in our first year. But even going up from high school to that level, the just speed of the game is so fast, so fast. So what I like to think about those kids getting time in the fourth quarter and things like that. I just glad that they get to go out there and feel the speed, feel the environment, can feed off of energy in the crowd, and just used to, just getting used to being in between those lines. The experience, the mental hurdle to get through some of that. A lot of folks and a lot of players don't like to talk or don't often talk about how mentally taxing just going out there, having an assignment, and having to solve these complex problems you're seeing at record fast time. You got to understand, like I just think about, I can speak from a corner standpoint. At corner, when the quarterback says, you're dealing with the most athletic player on the offense, which is a receiver, the vast majority of the time, right? That's what your job. Your job is to mirror what that guy's goes and to make sure the quarterback and him don't connect for a pass completion. So understand that you have assignments, and then you have to watch this guy, and literally every step is detailed. Every step means something. If you are a half a beat late in college football, it's a touchdown at corner. So people like going through that and trying to decipher that while there's 20 to 30, 40, 50,000 people in the stands just screaming at the top of their lungs, and they're all dependent upon you. Their happiness is dependent upon you making plays or not. Yeah, it's tough. So I just like to see those kids get experience and just get used to being out there. That stuff goes a long way. All right. Next question here we have, or comment. Zeke says he'll get paid more in the NFL than an NIL deal with P5. He got to strike while the iron is hot and go to the NFL while he's still young and relatively healthy. He'll get paid more in the NFL than an NIL deal. How old is he? Because I thought he was young. He's not going to the NFL next year, is he? He doesn't have an opportunity to, I don't think. Okay, well, no, he does. Redshirt sophomore. Yeah, he does. He's been in the program. Oh, okay. Interesting. That's interesting. sometimes I just see sophomore and automatically assume they have another year. Redshirt sophomore, that means he could leave next year. I don't know if he's going to be high enough. I'll tell you this. Uh, I don't know if he'll be high enough in the project. I don't know like what draft boards and stuff, if he's on any of those lists. But you know what? I can do a quick search just to get a feel on who's looking at him. I'll tell you this: if those draft boards are starting to call his name already, uh, yeah, he's go. He should go and get paid. I tell you that much. Uh, Interesting. Yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out with him. But if he does play another season, I hope it's in a UTSA jersey, and I hope we're paying him a lot of money to do so. Twain says, I was pleasantly surprised at the number of fans, 28,245. Yeah, that's excellent. That's excellent. I'll be honest, from the TV, it looked pretty empty though. So I'm glad that it was a lot of folks there. We can do better than that, but 28,245 is not bad. It's not bad at all. But I wanted to roll on the Jeff Traylor thing just a little bit more before I wrap up here. Yeah, I think that he is. Here's the thing. I feel like just looking at UTSA Twitter this morning, everybody jumping the gun and just assuming that he's going to be top of the list and that sort of thing. I have a feeling, and I know this is probably, I don't know. This could be me being delusional. I don't think that guy's going to leave us for a while. I think he probably knows the team that will do it. I don't see him as a Texas A&M guy. I don't. If it's UT, in fact, hell, I would tell him to take the UT job. He's going like that is anybody with coaching aspirations, from the state of Texas, that UT job is that's all the Infinity Stones. If you guys can understand my Marvel reference, that's all the Infinity Stones. That's the one that I think he'd probably move forward on. But like A&M, I don't know. I just see him as a Texas guy. If you would have seen some of the messages I got in the group chats this morning, everybody is just writing the book. Oh, he's gone. We lost him. This is crazy. I can't believe it. Like, our program is going to be, you know what? And if it does happen, it happens. But I think that this team, here's what I will say. If let's say hypothetically he does take the A&M job, if it gets offered to him, I think UTSA is a super attractive team because of or program, school, because of what he set up. And what I mean by that is there's going to be big coaches that's going to want to coach this team. We're not going to be, it wouldn't be a situation where we have to bet on like potential, like this guy could do something. I think I think coaches will be chomping at the bit to come down to Texas. There's already recruiting pipelines and stuff set up. You're not going to get better players than Texas. And, us being one of the dominant teams in the state and being one of the better teams in the state that's winning conference championships, hanging banners, got sick, all kind of uniform combinations and all this type of stuff, playing in a big Alamo Dome, got that new race facility, all this stuff just around San Antonio. You can't tell me. And the loyalty of the people in San Antonio. San Antonio is a loyal place, man. A loyal place. I love it. I love San Antonio for that. They're loyal to the Spurs. The folks who have jumped on the UTSA train are just super, super loyal. That stuff is priceless. And you can see that you don't even have to follow UTSA closely to see the loyalty that I think that folks who support the program have. So I think we land on our feet if he were to leave, is what I'll say. And I think we'll be fine. And it's large part to do with what he's done for us over these last few years. So, it is what it is. As someday it's gonna happen. So we all need to be honest about that. Someday it's gonna happen. And what you hope for in those situations is that the school has progressed enough to be an attractive landing spot for other any vacant coach that we like, that we'd want leading our program. So I think regardless we'll be fine, but I definitely hope that we don't lose them. Jared Schroeder says, next Friday is going to hit differently. I'm not ready to say goodbye to seniors I've watched since arriving at UTSA. Yeah, man, listen. Yeah, that's going to be tough, especially these super seniors who feel like they've been here I think Frank's been a guy I've been talking about since this podcast started. I want to say this is the 7th year we've been doing the podcast. I should go back and check that. What is it, 2023? I think I started doing this in 2015. I don't know, 2016 maybe. I think this is the 7th year, but that's when Frank, we started this when Frank first started. So yeah, no, it's going to be tough, man. I think I remember my senior day. Like, I am typically not the softie. My wife always asks me like, hey, do you ever cry regardless of what happens? I'm like, not really. My senior day, I was in tears. I walked out there before the game and see my family on the sideline and just broke down. That stuff can be sad. It's going to be sad to say goodbye to a lot of those guys. They have uplifted this program to just high levels. We've accomplished a lot of great things on the shoulders of these guys, and it's gonna suck to see them go. Frank Harris, Rashad Wisdom, they've been the face of the team for the last 3-4 years, 4 or 5 years or whatever, or 3-4 years. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, man. It's that stuff is that stuff is tough and emotional. Nathan Glover says, "Man, I woke up, Jimbo is fired, and people are looking at our guy." Yeah. UTSA is bonkers right now. If you want to keep your sanity, just stay off of it for this morning. Wait till people have one sleep on it, and then come back tomorrow and see. MA says, any thoughts on McCown passing up ELM? Think he transfers this offseason? Probably. Yeah, it looks like McCown is going to be is stepped ahead. Well, it also just depends, but I'd say probably. I would say this though. We'll get some real insight to who. We'll get some real insight to what ELM is thinking. Shortly after the season, because I think he just go ahead and leave. Quarterbacks and stuff, they like to leave as early as possible. So we'll get some insight. I also think what's going to be key to see is who are we going to bring in. We're not going to go. I can tell you this, especially if Trailer's there. We're probably going to be back in that portal looking at a quarterback as well. To come in and compete for a job. Right. So even if McCown is moved ahead of ELM now, there's still a long way to go. There's still a whole spring to go. And that's when it really counts, because then you're going to see like who's going to be trusted to lead the team and lead the offense and things like that. Right now, fighting for that backup spot is a little different than fighting for that starting job, I think, because just other intangibles are considered whenever you're fighting for that starting job. So you never know. I can tell you this. We're going to bring in, and I'm not saying McCown is going to be the guy next year. I'm just saying we don't know, because I guarantee you we go and bring out some big guns into the program, and they're going to have to fight for their position and scratch and claw for everything. So, yeah, we'll see. But I think it sucks. But yeah, he probably will transfer if he doesn't feel great about the situation. You also got to understand this too. They have not had a ton of time to even show themselves, right? And I've talked about this before on previous episodes. One of the things that gets a little interesting that I don't know if everyone considers all the time is just the mental struggle through position battles. So I talked about the mental game of, people having experience on the field, but position battles and the mental struggles with that. And I've talked about some of, my mental struggles with that in years past, but let alone a quarterback. See, I was going through this stuff, and at least it was a position that can be rotated. So you could be top 3, even 4 in some cases at corner, and you're still getting plenty of game time, depending on the packages and the defense of, the defense setup and the team you play and all of that. At quarterback, it's one guy. And, in teams that have multiple quarterbacks playing, they aren't ever good teams. They aren't ever good teams, right? Because, if you have one good quarterback, you're going to stick with that one good quarterback. So, who knows what ELM is feeling? I know that he has been popular among the fan base just for a couple of years because, he was impressive coming out of high school. And guys listen to these podcasts and they watch or they look at what's been said on Twitter. They look at fan forums, even though it's best for them to stay away from that stuff. Trust me, they do. Your family does the same thing, and your family is probably encouraging you to do things based off of what they hear and what they see. They're influenced by all the media that comes out 100%. And I just think that in his situation, him coming in as the number 2 guy and then sort of losing that position while not he played one bad half of football and he kind of got in this situation. I don't know. I'd got to believe that he's probably not in a good place right now. And that, he might want to leave. And it might be best for him. Who knows? But I sure hope he stays. I think he has some real arm talent, and all of these, you got to look at all these players. They're developmental players. Sometimes it is hard to go get somebody straight out of high school and you can throw them into a college game and go. Those guys are rare. Those freshmen that walk on a college field and are great from the time they step on, that's rare. That's not something that you see commonly, especially and then not only that, but even the guys who are developmental and it takes them a while. You need to see them over more than a game and a half, more than 2 games. You need to give them 3-4 games to get comfortable to where the bright lights aren't too bright for them, right? So I don't know. That's my spiel on the quarterback situation. But, yeah, he probably will leave, honestly. The way the transfer portal and stuff is, he could go anywhere. I'm sure there's an opportunity out there that's favorable for him. I'm sure there's going to be people in schools that would love to have him on a team. Because their quarterback situations aren't great. I'm sure he could even go down a level and really have a good time there. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm dropping stuff on my desk here. But I think that wraps everything up. I am going to get ready for some NFL football today. But for those of you who are still here, please like the video so more folks can, join the community, and please subscribe if you have not already, and tell a friend about this as well. So yeah, I appreciate you guys spending Sunday morning with me. I will see you guys midweek for the preview to South Florida. See you guys. Have a great rest of your day.